Hey, Hearts fans, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Charles, and I'm joined by Sean and Rob today. We are in the studio back in Portland, Maine. We have a special guest with us today, Olivia. She's a member of the Dirigo Union. She's also a Dirigal, and she's here to talk about the Women's League and some of the developments that are happening around Portland. So thank you for being here, Olivia.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about the Dirigals. I love that term. Where did it come from? How many of there are you at this time? What's the backstory there?
Oh gosh. I want to say the group chat is at about like 15 now, including 3 separate Mollies, which is exciting. I don't know where the name came from because I am not one of the founding mothers of the Dirigals. I can't claim that.
I love that.
But yeah, we like to play on the name a lot. We wanted to do a Dear Galentine's Day thing. We want to have a Dear Gala. So the name's fun to play on. And it's just a great group of women heart supporters that we just like to get together. And, you know, being women in sports is sometimes a little bit isolating and feeling like it's a very male-dominated
of course
experience. So having this group of women to experience it with is just so fun, and I love all of them. So yeah.
Did you come into the Hearts, because we're here obviously on behalf of the Dirigo Union, and we're all Heart supporters. Did you get involved with the Hearts as a soccer fan or finding community? We've heard from a lot of people that they weren't necessarily familiar with the sport, but they found the community. So how did you come to follow them?
I've been a massive soccer fan my whole life. I played it all growing up. I played competitive club soccer, decided not to play in college. So in my adulthood, just became a fan of the sport.
Awesome.
I mean, I have a tattoo for the U.S. Women's National Team. So big
I won't
fan.
ask you where it is.
It's just on my ankle.
Okay.
Nothing too risque.
In that case, no.
Commitment. Yeah. I mean, I travel all over the country.
Oh, really?
Not yet internationally. I need to get over to London.
Yeah, that needs to change.
Yeah. So came in as a soccer fan, but you know, the community is an added perk. It's been really fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you've been following USL W, right? The women's, or I guess it's only been around since 2022.
Yeah, there was some iteration of it before. Previously, I think it had a separate name. But yeah, the current iteration of it, the USL W League, has been around since 2022. They played their first games with 30 teams, I believe it started with. They're now, about 3 years later, with over 90 teams. And then for the 2026 season, I'm not even sure how many they're adding, but I know they're adding the Northeast Division with the Vermont Green and Hartford Athletic, adding women's teams. So it's going to be well over 93 for the next year.
It's become kind of the women's equivalent of the USL too, right? Like it's a lot of college players going out and trying to actually prove that they can play at a professional level or get some extra playing time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they play kind of in that summertime. So yeah, it's a pre-professional, mainly, like you said, college students, or a lot of like recent college graduates trying to get into like the NWSL or other leagues. There are tons of NWSL players, which is like the top tier of kind of the MLS. The
top tier of women's.
Yeah. Yep. MLS equivalent in the women's side. And there are a lot of players that went through the USL W League. There are U.S. Women's National Team players that played in the USL W League before they played in the NWSL or abroad and for the national team.
And it's a semi-professional league.
Yes.
Is there? I mean, kind of like for anybody listening who's not familiar with the league yet, I think that's a pretty good synopsis of it so far. But we're expected to see a lot of growth in 2026. And so tell me a little bit about what's going on for the USLW here in Portland right now.
Well, as far as I know, we've just announced the town halls. There's gonna be 3 town halls that they're holding. One is a fan one is for business and community members, and then I think the other one is youth development town hall. So those will be held in the spring. I know this has been on Gabe's mind for a while. He mentioned it to me a couple of years ago that it was something he really wanted to do. So now we're getting more of the public facing step towards getting the team.
Yeah, it seems like the Hearts have always said soccer for all, and that women is part of that. If anybody was curious or got to speak at anybody at the club, it was like, yeah, about women's soccer.
Yeah.
It was definitely part of the plan.
Yeah.
And I didn't personally know how far into the future to expect that. So it seems like they're trying to do the open halls, maybe take a similar route that they did to the men's team, which we all agree they've done a really good job launching the Hearts men's soccer club. So let me ask you this. Is it the right time right now for a USLW team in Portland? I know it's the right time because we just launched the men's team. It seems like the next step to get this started. But even without that, just the women's game in general, New England, Maine.
Yeah. I mean, the right time for women's sports in general was like 5 years ago.
Right. Yesterday.
So, yeah, I mean, when you're thinking about tying it to the men's team and all the hype that we've gotten around that, it's definitely the right time. I think the community has loved what they've seen from the rollout of the men's team, and why not keeping that going with the women's team?
Yeah, I think it's going to have a lot of support.
Yeah, and I remember I was in some of those town hall meetings there with the Hearts, some year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever it may be, and one of those questions did come up of, do you plan on bringing in a women's team, into the Hearts of Pine organization, and Gabe's like, yeah, he was absolutely, that is definitely something I want to do. To your point, Olivia, and he's like, just let us get the Hearts going first. He goes, and then yes, we are absolutely interested in bringing a women's team in, and at the end of year one of the Hearts of Pine, lo and behold, here comes the announcement of the women's team. We're right on track and kind of what Gabe was putting out there for information some year and a half, 2 years ago, that yes, we will have a women's team.
It's very early days right now, but the plan would be 2027, I would assume, to try
in terms of players on the field.
Yeah, players on the field.
I heard 2027, maybe 2028.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's really, you don't want to, as we know, you don't want to rush this.
No. And there's some big questions I think that still need to be answered. Like, besides just what do you call the team and what do the kits look like and who the players are, but there's also some practical logistical questions like, we'd have to renegotiate our deal with the city or find a different venue if it's not going to be Fitzpatrick Stadium. There's things like that that also have to get sorted. But I think that's probably the next step after these town halls and hearing community input as to what they want this team to kind of look like.
I'm sure a lot of that will come out in the town hall. I think that they're probably preparing to answer those questions.
I love they're going to be taking on so much community feedback. We know they're going to do that. It's the best way forward.
Yeah.
They have a good track record for doing that. But I want to talk about some of that stuff today too. But there's a new Northeast division in 2026. So do you know the teams off the top of your head?
I know the two that I know are associated with USL men's teams, which are Vermont Green and Hartford Athletic.
Right.
I can't remember the other ones.
I've got the other ones right here. So we've got Vermont Green, Hartford Athletic, AC Connecticut, who play out of Newtown, Newton, Connecticut here. New England Mutiny, who play out of Ludlow. I think they're associated with the Western Mass Pioneers.
I like that
I'm
name.
pretty sure.
That
cool
team
name.
That team name's been around for a while.
Yeah, they played actually in a
name.
different league, and they're moving over to the W League when this conference launches. And the last one is the Hudson Valley Crusaders, who play out of Newburgh, New York. And I know there are definitely feelers out for the league to add other teams to that conference. Like we've talked about, it's a very big and developing league. So, a lot of different things going on there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like Seacoast or Boston or Rhode Island added to that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe New Hampshire is kind of mulling around an idea of bringing in a women's team as well. So they may not be quite as advanced what the Hearts are currently are with their team and into the town halls, but I think the gears have just started to turn in New Hampshire for bringing on a women's team. So they might be a little bit behind the time frame.
It's a really good atmosphere, I feel like, right now in New England to kind of get into women's soccer. We had an NWSL team for many years, the Breakers, and they kind of didn't survive that early stages of the NWSL. But we have a new team coming, which I know, Olivia, you're also kind of involved with.
Yeah.
Maybe tell us a little bit about that and how that professional team kind of is going to be kind of a feeder, or not a feeder, but the end goal for a lot of these W League people.
Yeah. So new name for the new NWSL team in Boston, the Boston Legacy. They had kind of the opposite of a Hearts rollout.
Yep, I'd say so.
It was a rough rollout.
That was pretty
Yeah,
rough.
it was pretty brutal. I was in one of the Zoom calls when they decided to start taking feedback after that awful
After
rollout.
they had
Remind me what that original name
Boss
was.
Nation.
Boss Nation.
too many balls.
Yeah,
That
too
was-
many balls.
That was the thing.
tagline.
Yeah.
That was too many balls.
That was the legitimate
That was their, like,
slogan. And it's
their
like,
I
rollout
kind of
video.
respect it.
I kind of wish I got a T-shirt with it before they.
It's a
canceled
great
I know.
T-shirt. It's a
The
great
Boss
T-shirt.
Nation is going to be a relic. I
Should
should have
a
gotten
set of boxers, I think.
Yeah, I think that video was just like,
Yeah.
oh, we have so many Boston, men's
Right.
legends. How can we get them all into a video about a women's soccer team? And it just didn't hit the mark.
No.
But
At least they had the ability to take it back and be like, you
Yeah.
know, it didn't. We tried, it didn't work, and we're
Yeah.
just going to go again, right?
that says
Yeah.
that says a lot. I mean, if you doubled down on it, that's a worse look. So
yeah, and they could have done that. I kind of expected that, to be honest.
yeah, but they didn't.
good for them that they took the criticism and
Yeah.
they went
Right.
back to the drawing board, right?
And I gave when I was in that call, I gave the Hearts as an example of how to do a really like community minded rollout of a team and listen to community, and a lot of people understood that and knew about the Hearts and really felt the same way. So maybe they took a little bit of a thought from what the Hearts had done. So
I hope so.
Do you think they wanted to just like knock it out of the park and keep that name on the down low, and that's why they didn't run a name like that by people at community events or town halls, or they
were
weren't
trying
doing
to
them
be
in general?
edgy. I don't know.
Yeah,
Because I feel
Yeah.
like if you like, hey, we're thinking of calling this, and
I
our
think
tagline
they're-
is going to be
I
too
think
many balls. Like, you probably would have gotten the same response at a town hall level. They could have known ahead of time, like, oh, this isn't really.
I think Olivia
Achieving.
hit it on the mark where she was saying they're just trying to be a little cheeky,
Yeah.
trying to have a little fun with it, right? A little edge, and
Yeah.
it's all well and good, but you got to run it by a few people first before you
just
just
didn't do
decide
that.
to go ahead and roll it out
and
there.
They've also, they've been a little bit different in like their colorways, which I think is really fun. And I think there are ways to be a little bit different about what you're doing and not, the same colorways as everyone else. They're like almost like a lime green and like hot pink and black. I think they just rolled out their kits on Friday. So that's really fun. The home opener for the Boston Legacy is on March 14th. Sadly, the same day as the Hearts playing the Cosmos, the most local away game for the Hearts of Pine, or one of the most local away games for the Hearts of Pine. So that was a tough decision for me. But I'm gonna go to the Legacy
Good
match.
for you.
Yeah, they're playing Gillette at their first season, which we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think between that team, Boston, the Denver team, the NWSL launching this year, and then I think there's like 8 or 9 teams in the USL Super League, which is the USL's professional league, launching soon-ish. I mean, that's almost going to like double the number of professional soccer jobs that women
huge.
can do in this country. So you're going to need teams like the W League to develop players, because as far as I know, I don't know of any. Are there like women's academies in the U.S. yet, or is it still
There's
mostly
some,
college?
I think there's some NWSL like 2, I think is what they call it. It's like kind of like the MLS Next.
Mm-hmm.
I think that exists for some teams. But yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a huge player development pool coming out of the USL W League.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's already 90 plus teams, so that is a big pool, but
Yeah.
even larger.
You would think the goal would be for all clubs, maybe not semi-professional, but at least at like League 3 professional and up, if they're going to develop academies, for have it to be male and female players, right?
Yeah.
But we're not there yet.
Yeah.
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 So Olivia, I just want to bring it back to the town halls for a little bit, and I was just wondering, kind of some of the different questions that you're looking to kind of get flushed out in the town halls, kind of like your mental Rolodex, so to speak, when you're going into that town hall and sitting down, kind of some of the questions that you would like to have answered for you before you leave for the day.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up one like Fitzpatrick Stadium. That's already like a huge question with the Hearts already sharing that stadium, and then adding another team into the mix. That's definitely a huge question I have, if they're planning on using Fitzpatrick, expanding it, or looking elsewhere. What else? I mean, I'm always interested to see about like marketing and branding, if they're going to go with Hearts of Pine women's or whatever what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
Can we expand on that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because personally, my thought is I've heard a lot of men give their opinion as about that name, and I'm not to put you on the spot, Olivia, but like
Speak for all women here.
Yeah, no, and I'm not trying to put you in that, but you as an individual, what do you think about that idea about just having it be called Hearts of Pine?
I mean, I do love the name Hearts of Pine. It's tough. You think about like the European teams. Like I'm a big supporter of Arsenal, and like a lot of the Premier League teams, when they have their women's teams, they're established names. So it's Arsenal women's, Chelsea women's, Liverpool women's. In the US, so you think about like these NWSL teams, they're not always affiliated with a men's counterpart. So they have their own identities and brands. There are a few that are kind of associated, but they do have their own, like the Portland Timbers and the Portland Thorns. They have the same ownership and they're completely different brands. So I think it is something in the US we do differently compared to abroad, where those teams in England are like very historically established and we're a little bit newer. So I think, going with that more American feel of how we go about branding the women's teams, I kind of like the idea of having something a little bit separate. But I do love, the Hearts of Pine and all of the branding that goes with that. So I don't know if I would be upset one way or the other. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
If we have another Boss Nation thing, though, that
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right,
too many
it won't happen. But
I was thinking, along the same lines as you in terms of, that Hearts of Pine name is awful strong to start from. I was thinking of variations thereof and trying to keep the heart theme. And like one of the things that I was just kind of popped in my head. Do you remember the movie Titanic, and she had a necklace with like the heart of the sea or something like that, or whatever.
Is that what it's called?
Maybe like play off that since we got the ocean nearby or something. Maybe whatever that name turns into, I don't really know, but maybe something along those lines.
We got the pines and then we got the sea.
Yeah. Maybe there's something there
From the force
to kind of hold the heart still in both teams, but still very clear separation between the women's team and the men's team. Maybe that's something.
I mean, we're coming off Valentine's Day right now too.
Right?
When's the last time you watched the Titanic?
Long time ago.
Okay, good.
That's a commitment. That's a 3 hour.
I want to make sure this isn't a weekly movie. This is
Long
really refreshing your
time
memory.
Wait, does anyone know what it was called? Is it called The Heart of the Sea?
I thought it was something like The Heart of the Sea.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Moby Dick movie, Heart of the Sea.
That was a Moby Dick movie.
I don't know if they also
You're right.
called.
Yeah.
I have seen the Titanic. Unlike Sean, I don't watch every week, but I have seen it.
Well, what was the movie that Ollie always watched all the time?
Oh, that was funny. Yeah, he said it was a Christmas movie. The Holiday.
The Holiday. I am not up with Ollie on The Holiday in terms of watching the Titanic. Let's put it that way.
All right.
There's some cinephile right now at home screaming the name. That is scream.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have the name off the top of my head, but just a thought and idea.
The last thing I've seen of the Titanic, I'm the king of going off topic, but I like doing it. My last thing I've seen with the Titanic was Arnold Schwarzenegger playing every character. He was like, "Look at me, Jack. Look at me.
I can see that. I can see that being good.
I'm wearing the heart of the sea."
What was the production value on that?
Oh, it was good because it's AI. You know.
Oh, it was
It's
AI. I
it's
thought
all
he was
like,
actually doing
"Look
this.
at my boobies, Jack. Look at them." It was so good. So I'm gonna watch that and see what that necklace looked like because I don't remember. But do you have? I mean, I see what you're saying, and in Europe, those names are brands, right? Arsenal, and I feel like if they named them something else, it wouldn't. I'm not going to find the right word for it, but I would assume, and I could be incorrect, but you'd want to be associated with, you'd want to be Arsenal ladies, right?
Yeah.
Because Arsenal or Liverpool or whatever, those are brands in themselves and they're so historic. But you're right, we have an opportunity in this country, but Hearts is already so strong.
I'm biased as an Arsenal fan, but Arsenal does it very well. The one club. I mean, they always say the one club. It's the men's and the women's, and they do a lot of their marketing is just both teams. And the Hearts have an opportunity if they want to make this like a real solid brand to go that route and not make it super separate. You got your men's team and your women's team, they have the same name, but they don't really interact much, and it doesn't feel like one club. I think if you're going to go with the same name, you have to like really lean into it
Yes.
and go that route.
I agree with you. And does it tell us something, if the decision that they make, or is it going to be more, you think, more listening to the community?
Yeah, I it'll be interesting to see what people want to see. I've heard both ways. So I don't know.
And the thing is, if they do go with Hearts of Pine, which, totally doable, right? They could play with color schemes and with a crest and stuff like that, right? So that way, when you immediately are looking at a crest, whether that be on a box score, whether that be on an advertisement or what have you, a different color on the crest, immediately recognizable that they're talking about the women's team.
Yeah. And you have a lot of casual fans with the Hearts, right? And in America in general.
Yeah.
So I do think that if you unify it in one name, people immediately know that it is associated, or this is the Hearts team. And you won't have that right away if you change the name.
Yeah, you get that name recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, the Hearts have brought in so many non-soccer fans.
Absolutely.
That's true.
So, having that name recognition for those folks.
And it's already not easy to follow.
Yeah.
Like I have my in-laws here, and he was asking me about how the podcast was going and stuff. He's like, "What's the structure?" I said, "Interesting you ask." So we're just talking about a new Premier Division, and then that's actually going to be the number 1 division. But then the second level is called the Championship, and level 3 is called USL 1. He was done. He was the conversation was over. Like he just didn't even care. I mean, nothing against him at all, but like. It is convoluted already enough. You start introducing multiple names, multiple teams. I'm not saying what they should do, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think, genuinely, there are a lot of very educated women's soccer fans in the city.
Of course.
That makes... I mean, there are NWSL watch parties here in Portland. I know I've gone in the zoo.
I had 10 people at my house this morning.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Watching the Arsenal game. It was supposed to be the Arsenal women's game, and that got postponed because the pitch was waterlogged. So we pivoted and watched the men's game. But yeah, on any given Saturday or Sunday, I've got a bunch of people in my living room watching women's soccer.
Yeah, I started out through the women's game.
Yeah.
Back in the mid-'90s, somewhere in that neighborhood.
As a lot of people did, I think, in this country, because they were
I was going to
pretty
say
awesome
it's the more mature.
I think it was 94
right
with the World Cup with the men's.
Yeah.
Right, that kicked everything off. That sparked the interest. So don't get me wrong, right? But thereafter, it was very much women's soccer for me until probably mid-teens, somewhere in that neighborhood, where the U.S. women's national team just doing what they do, and raking in 4 World Cups, and all the different ladies that played in that national team, and building a national women's professional team, a league, I should say, here in the U.S. that kind of went south. Just like some of the old men's leagues that went south, and MLS cropped up, and now we got the NWSL now that it's cropped up for the women's side. So the second iterations, both on the men's side and the women's side, it's what we do here in the U.S. sometimes.
I mean, speaking of the '90s and women's soccer, how cool was it that Michelle Akers came to a game? That was
unbelievable.
I lost my mind.
Me and you both.
Yeah.
That woman has done so much for women's soccer in this country.
Are we going to see more of her with the
Well,
Hearts?
did you see she reposted the when the Hearts posted about all the town halls for the women's team? She reposted on her Instagram story. So
without me going into this huge rant on Michelle Akers, which I could very easily do, and you probably just pull my mic at some point in time, I'm just going to simply put it at this, that Michelle Akers is on the same plane and same equivalency and received the same award as Pele, as the greatest women's soccer player in the 1900s, if you will.
And she stepped on Fitzy.
Yeah, just right up beside Dana.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
No, that was a really one of the best moments of the season, I would say.
Yeah.
Like you can't ask for much more. And I'm sure she'll be there when the ladies take the field.
Yeah. And then some younger talent, non-retired. We had Jenna Neiswanger at a game. She at that point was still playing for Arsenal.
She kind of snuck in, didn't she? Because she posted on Instagram about it, and no one knew she was there.
I was
was
like
all
on my phone
low-key
trying to
about
figure
it,
out
yeah.
what her tie was to Maine, and I think she's got like an aunt in Maine or something like that.
Everybody have an aunt
Yeah.
in Maine.
Yeah. But that, like, going back to having all these great female soccer players come to the stadium, I mean, that is something we really benefit from in this country. We have a very mature women's game. I mean, we have probably, I would say the NWSL is probably the best or the second best women's league in the world. You know,
That's highly debated.
Yeah, it is highly debated which one is the best. That's for sure.
It definitely has the most parity, I would say.
Yes, it does.
I would say there was a time where the NWSL was the best league in the world. And into Olivia's point of a debate, I think that has shifted over to Europe the past few years. Now there's an argument saying that NWSL is trying to pull it back.
Yeah.
I think with these expansions,
and they're hopefully working on
Like-
their
like-
salary caps.
Like Rodman, where she just got paid the biggest salary in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
she had a lot of interest overseas.
Right. So that's to the point of they're trying to pull it back.
Yeah.
Right. I point to that.
Yeah. I mean, in America, it'll be interesting with the USL W League because in America, we have so much of our soccer talent comes up through college, which is not the same abroad. So you have all these very talented players who, you know, can go on to be on the U.S. Women's National Team, go and play in the NWSL, who are going to be looking to play possibly in the USL W League while they're in college. So there's a huge talent pool of players that, you know, might be the next Michelle Akers.
Yeah, and I think that's what this USLW League does, and you kind of already spoken to it, right? Is after they come out of college, or maybe even instead of going to college, many years down the road, once it's become much more mature and much more proven, right? That this is almost academy-esque type of division for women players in the future, much more in the future. I would be speaking to that, right? But time now really where the college players get done playing college ball, they come out and they're looking to be have a shot at professional league, and you know, maybe it doesn't work for them for the NWSL side of things or anything like that. You know, they can get their feet wet into the USLW team and try to prove themselves and try to move up. And you know, as more and more teams get into the Super League, right, which is on parallel with the NWSL. You know, it just opens up more avenues for the women to make the soccer that they love so much a career for themselves.
Have you guys thought at all about why we went with, or Portland has gone with a W League team instead of a Super League team? Is that?
I was going to ask you, so I'm glad you asked us.
I don't know.
I mean, I definitely have. I mean, I think, because I know some people were asking this question, and I think there were some people who were a little concerned that we weren't going with a Super League team because maybe it was seen as not investing enough in the women's game. I think for me, it comes down to, one is number of games, two is Fitzy's restrictions, because I'm guessing we're probably going to try and play at Fitzy. I think we can probably get the number of games we have to have for the W League out of the stadium. But the women's league, like if we got a USL Super League team, they run a winter season. So that's hard to get fans out to Fitzy.
Yeah.
And then two, it's just more games. So you got to negotiate with the city for more dates, and the city has other tenants of that facility. And then two, I think that it's a way to dip your toe in. And, you know, not that I don't think there is an interest. I really do think that there is. But it's less commitment in terms of cost than actually going out and starting a professional team on day one, which I think might help a little bit.
I mean, I don't follow the Super League as much. I'm definitely a big follower of the NWSL. But as far as I know, I think some of the markets for the USL Super League are in some of the bigger markets like Dallas, Brooklyn, New York, and places like that. So maybe, you know, a Portland, Maine is more on par with some of the markets right now, at least, that are in the W League as well. But yeah, maybe it's a stepping stone.
Yeah, I mean, I think travel costs is probably definitely on the forefront of everyone's mind, because I mean, we're going to be playing against local New England teams, which is kind of nice. You get to build local rivalries with other towns, and
you can go to more away games. If
right,
you want
exactly.
to travel. I mean, right now for the Hearts, it's like you got to get on a plane or drive through Connecticut.
That'll be the great thing about the USLW Northeast Division is everything's going to be a bus ride, or everything is going to be just jump in your car and drive. I think probably New York is probably going to be the furthest one, so I'm going to guess it's going to be in the 6-hour range maybe to where they are in New York, somewhere in that neighborhood. That'll be the longest trip, right? Yeah. So I think that's really good for building a community up here in the Northeast and building rivalries and getting a lot of away support to all those different matches as the years tick on with this division.
Yeah, Hearts are known for their away support.
Only just beginning. Talk to me about supporters groups, because I've heard some rumblings of a new supporters group. Obviously, there's the Dirigo Union, which I'm sure is going to have a ton of support for a women's team.
Yeah.
But what's going on right now? And the town halls are going to strengthen that, I would assume.
Yeah, I just saw that one popped up, so I don't really know too much about it. But I did see that. I think it's First Light.
It's the First Light supporters group.
Yeah. So that's exciting that has popped up. People should follow them on Instagram and see what's going on with them. I've also had conversations with Donald about, doing something maybe under the DU umbrella.
Co-chair of the Dirigo Union. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So, I think there's room for multiple supporters group if we decide to do that. And yeah, I mean, it's still early days.
So early.
But we'll see.
Are there any success stories in this league at this level that you think the Hearts can look to?
As far as supporters or?
No, I think it's the whole package as we build this women's team for Portland.
I don't know if I'm the right person to ask about that.
Yeah.
I haven't followed a ton of the Super League, so I don't really know what teams are doing well. I hope the front office is looking at that. I mean, I remember I had a conversation with Gabe. It was probably almost 2 years ago at this point, when he mentioned he wanted to go for a women's team, and he was saying that he had taken a trip to. I hope I'm not remembering this conversation wrong because it was several years ago, but I think he said he took a trip to LA to meet with the Angel City front office. Obviously, that's a different league, but he was having those conversations and thinking, because Angel City has done a really good community-minded rollout of their team. So I think he was, looking to them and what they've done well. So it's not a USL W League team, but I think they are, making those conscious efforts to see what the teams that have done this really well are doing.
Sounds like our neighbors in Vermont also have been doing a pretty good job. So they haven't launched their team yet. I think this is their first season this summer.
Yeah.
But they had Sam Mewis coaching. Was it one or was it two sort of exhibition matches?
I know of at least one. There might have been two. I'm not sure.
Tell everybody who Sam is.
Yep, former women's national team player. Came up. Yeah. I think she worked for Men in Blazers now mostly.
So there's now a new vertical of Men in Blazers called the Women's Game. And she runs that, several podcasts under that vertical of Men in Blazers. She unfortunately had to retire far too early. She was in her prime and had a knee injury that just wouldn't go away. I wish she could play for the national team forever because she's just that good. But I think having her with the Vermont Green has been amazing. I wish she was in Maine. Yeah. I grew up playing for rival clubs with Sam and Christy Mewis. Her sister is also a U.S. Women's National Team player.
All's fair in love and war, and pretty soon we're gonna go down there and beat those guys up. So, and maybe she'll hear about what we're doing.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure she's a big fan of Maine. So maybe she'll come here.
She's a Massachusetts native, so I'm sure she's come up in the summertime.
Definitely.
In Maine.
She's got an aunt in Maine.
Probably has an aunt
I bet she has an aunt in Maine. I bet she does. But when it comes to trying to figure out a blueprint and maybe some successful teams, at least we get a chance to talk to the Spokane Zephyr just this past summer and fall as we were in the Heart season, and I had a podcast with for the Dirigo Union with the crossover, and I got a chance to talk to the Spokane Zephyr and also the Velocity, which is on the men's side of things, and the Zephyr plays in the Super League. And one of the big takeaways that I had out of that crossover was, we were talking about possibilities of the Hearts having a women's team out here. And the one thing that she certainly wanted to make sure that we were well aware of is it's too much just for one supporters group with two teams. That you are definitely going to want another supporters group or some variation of another supporters group to kind of what you were talking about earlier, maybe branching off inside the DU. We saw another one already sprout up, right?
Yep.
That you got to have something more than just whatever you had for the men's team. Just, we're going to support the women's team too. That's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it because they are stretched way too thin out west is what she was saying.
I think the DU is already really massive. We could maybe even have a second supporters group for the men's team as well. It's a good point and definitely something I've been talking to Donald about wanting to give it its own thing.
What about the Dirigals? Because it's such a good name.
Oh yeah, I know. We'll see. But that's kind of our thing.
Dirigo Union and the Dirigals. So
I don't know.
You guys could branch out and I don't know. I love that name though. I do.
It's pretty great. It's a good group of gals.
So what does success, it's so early, it's hard to ask this question, but in your mind, what is a successful year one? What does that look like?
I mean, I feel like we saw it with the Hearts of Pine men's team. I think like having the community rally around a team the way they did for the men's team, seeing that also translated to the women's team, seeing some investment from the front office. I think you talked earlier about like the leagues that have folded in the past, in the women's leagues that have folded in the past. And a lot of times it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, you don't invest in it and they're like, oh, look, no one showed up because you didn't invest in it. So I think proper investment, listening to the community, having people rally around the team so that you look at attendance and things like that. But I think what we saw this past year with the Hearts, if we could keep that going and see that for the women's team, I would say that would be successful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And another thing that's probably going to pop up in these town halls is kind of, game day experience and what that will look like for the women's team and whether there are some differences to what we usually see with the Hearts match or not. Any opinions on maybe a game day experience for a women's team match that walking into Fitzpatrick Stadium, assuming they'll be playing at Fitzpatrick Stadium, what that may look like walking into a women's game?
Well, clearly we have plenty of musicians in Portland.
That's definitely true.
So hopefully we can get some bandits or recruit some new musicians to get a good band section going, because I think that has been the most fun thing about going to Hearts games is just
it's a party.
It's a party. So that's definitely a huge piece. I mean, I think that's a lot of like when someone comes to their first Hearts game, like seeing the match day experience is something that is like you can't really describe it to someone. You're like, oh, you got to come to a game. So I think taking some of that and bringing it to Fitzpatrick for a women's game is something we'll definitely have to do. It'll be interesting, for the men's team, there are players that stick around year to year. It'll be interesting to see with the W League being pre-professional, a lot of college players. I assume there's going to be a lot of turnover. So,
I would assume so as well.
So it's going to be a lot of like learning new players every year, or a lot of new players every year, which will be, maybe a little more difficult to have to make up new chants every year.
Yeah, you might have
the fun part.
You might have two or three that probably stick around, right? But you're right. A large majority of them are probably going to move, if able, right?
Yeah.
They're looking to go to a full-time professional club, more than likely.
Or if they're not making it, they gotta go get paid.
Right, they're going one direction or the other, right? Either they're going up or they're going out, right? One of the two.
But I will say that from talking to Vermont people who support the USL 2 side, the men's side, which has the same structure, because it's also pre-professional. They seem to have the same sort of relationship to their players, even though they're maybe only around for a season or two, as we have.
They become fans of the player.
Exactly. Yeah. They follow the player. They really see where they're like Nathan Messer. A lot of Vermont guys still revere Nathan Messer. And
Nathan who?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, erase him from memory. But, like, they still follow his career, even though he played for the Green, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they have a little bit of ownership over him as much as maybe more than we do. You could argue, but I'm not going to go there. Is there to play devil's advocate a little bit, is that a downside to not going Super League? Because that you have all that, the turnover and all that other stuff. I would say that's probably one of the things we like the least. And that I don't want to speak for all Mainers, but I think personally, Mainers have a lot of pride, and they put a lot of pride into this team. And I'm curious, are you going to be okay with that much turnover? Like some of our guys too are like, yeah, let's support Nathan Messer, and you should. But I think there's a side of Mainers who are like, that MFer left us.
But on
You know
the
what
other,
I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's you should support him as he goes on, but that just is a natural tendency because like we're also about building and being strong and like competing with everybody. So there's that. I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit.
Yeah, but on the other side of that, I think we will get more Mainers on the team.
Sure.
And then you're
Good
rooting
point.
for Mainers making it on, not
That's
just
the
a
best
former
thing to
Hearts
do.
player. Yeah.
That's even better.
So I think we will see a lot more of that, like some Maine players, some homegrown, local to Portland players, and you can't root against that.
Right.
Well, to your point, right? And I think I had brought this once up before in a similar conversation in the past. I don't believe it was on a podcast, but Portland finds itself in a pretty unique spot with 2 Division I schools pretty much on either side of it, with UNH down there in New Hampshire, which is not all that far from Portland, Maine. And of course,
is it closer than Maine?
And of course, you got Maine, right? So you got 2 Division I schools that are pretty much on either side of you, and of course, you got all the Division II and Division III schools all peppered in and around the state, but you've got 2 Division I schools that you can pull from locally and go easily scout either one of those teams and see what you got in house, if you will, and say, hey. Just letting you know we're here, and if you want to come play for us, there's an opportunity for you to come in here and possibly get a professional contract by using us as a platform, or maybe one of the few women that may be on that particular team that is going to get paid, or it's a semi-professional team. But that is certainly some tools in the toolbox, if you will, for this new team that's coming up, being positioned where they currently are.
Yeah. Definitely.
Olivia, any words out there for people who aren't following women's soccer yet, and also Mainers, like advice for how to get them involved in the game? Is this the perfect time for them to start paying attention?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've recruited a lot of people, and none of them have gotten out. I think it's everyone kind of falls in love with it once you start to catch the bug, and it's just a great community to be a part of. If anything else, like you don't even have to know anything about soccer to feel like you're a part of this community. And I know there's so many women that are intimidated, like I mentioned earlier with the Dirigals, there's so many women that are intimidated getting into the sports world. And I think hopping in with the women's team and supporting the women's club, that's a great way to kind of dip your toes in. There'll be plenty of women there, and I'll teach everyone what offsides is.
Olivia School of Offsides.
Yep. So let's see. When's the first town hall?
March 7th.
I know it's sold out.
Yeah,
So-
I didn't get a ticket.
You didn't? What? How does that happen?
Neither did I.
I thought
We
it
don't
was,
need you, but she's an
I
honorable
thought it was
attendee.
going, so it's also they're playing the She Believes Cup game. I thought I was going to go down to go
Gotcha.
to that, and then I was like, maybe I'll stick around. I texted Donald. He's like, I think I have an extra ticket.
I was
So,
just gonna say you gotta ask ask some of your friends
Yeah.
if they can get you in there, because you need to be there.
yeah,
So yeah, and then there's still open. There's seats left for the next town halls.
yep.
Yeah.
I don't know the dates on those, but
No, I actually don't. Maybe we can put them in the description.
Yeah.
That would be good for us to do. So, but that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
thanks for
coming on the
having me.
podcast, and you're welcome back anytime. Hopefully, it's the first of many when we can be talking about the women's team.
Yeah.
as well.
I'll bring some of my gals next time.
Love it. Yeah, excellent. Absolutely love it. Well, up the hearts.
Up the
Up the
heart.
hearts.